Before you and your spouse face unexpected tragedy, there's one conversation that can protect everything you've built together. Most couples think love is enough, or that shared routines make them a financially successful couple. But the truth is far more fragile. Hidden financial problems, silent debts, locked accounts, and missing documents can tear apart your stability at the exact moment you're least prepared. If you share money with your partner or rely on each other financially, these blind spots could decide whether you stay secure or face a financial disaster you never saw coming. Every couple should know this before it's too late. The 5 hidden financial blind spots that devastate grieving spouses. Losing a spouse is one of the most painful experiences anyone can face. The emotional shock alone can feel overwhelming. But for many surviving partners, there's another layer of devastation that arrives quietly and brutally: the financial aftermath. Although couples build lives together, love each other deeply, and share home and family responsibilities, most do not realize how many crucial financial details remain invisible, unplanned, or dangerously imbalanced. These blind spots often don't appear until tragedy strikes, and by then, it's too late to prepare. This video dives into the 5 most common financial blind spots that burden grieving spouses. These are not merely minor oversights. They can determine whether a surviving partner can stay in their home, access money for immediate needs, maintain credit, manage taxes, or simply navigate daily life without spiraling into financial hardship. Many people assume that marriage automatically protects them, or that shared love naturally means shared knowledge. But the truth is far more complicated and often heartbreaking. If you are in a relationship, especially if you share a home, children, or finances, the insights here could change your future. This isn't about fear. This is about empowerment. The goal is to help couples protect each other, strengthen their financial foundation, and prevent grief from becoming a compounded crisis. Let's walk through each blind spot step by step, unpack why it happens, and learn what couples can do right now to safeguard their family's future. The financial consequences of losing a spouse often catch people off guard because the modern household is typically built on shared responsibilities, but not shared knowledge. Many couples divide tasks naturally, and without much thought, one handles bills, the other handles childcare. One manages investments, the other manages the home. One tracks insurance policies, the other keeps up with taxes. This division of labor works well during life, but becomes a vulnerability if one partner unexpectedly passes away. Financial planners, estate attorneys, and widows repeatedly describe a pattern. Couples assume they have more protections than they truly do. They believe that marriage alone guarantees access to accounts. They believe that debts disappear. They believe that credit transfers seamlessly. They believe that their home and savings automatically revert to the surviving partner. In reality, most of these assumptions are false. The emotional fog of grief makes it even harder to deal with surprises. People describe feeling exhausted, confused, and unprepared when faced with stacks of paperwork, phone calls from creditors, frozen accounts, tax filings they've never handled, insurance claims they don't understand, and financial decisions with long-term consequences. Some spouses are unable to buy groceries for days. Others discover that their home could be at risk. Many are shocked to learn that years of good credit vanish instantly. And almost all say they wish they had addressed these issues earlier. But the good news is that most of these blind spots are fixable if couples act before a crisis occurs. Understanding the 5 most common pitfalls is the first step toward real protection. Let's begin with the financial shock that most widows and widowers never see coming: hidden or unexpected debt. One of the most jarring financial revelations surviving spouses face is the discovery of debts they never knew existed. Even in loving, communicative relationships, money can be a subject wrapped in silence, shame, or simple oversight. Some partners feel guilty discussing credit card debt. Others don't want to worry their spouse. Sometimes debt accumulates quietly during emergencies, job losses, or medical events. In other cases, a partner may have taken on loans for business ventures or family members without wanting to involve their spouse. After death, those undisclosed obligations emerge through creditor letters, collection calls, or estate documentation. For the grieving spouse, this can feel like a betrayal, even if the debts were never ill-intentioned. More importantly, it can wreak havoc on finances. Whether a surviving spouse is legally responsible for debt varies sharply depending on state laws. In most states, debt held only in the deceased partner's name is settled by the estate. But in community property states, like California, Texas, Washington, Arizona, and other spouses are often legally responsible for debts incurred during the marriage, even if their name was never on the account. A surviving partner might suddenly owe thousands in credit card balances, personal loans, medical bills, or even business-related obligations they knew nothing about. Even outside community property states, certain debts can still fall back onto the surviving spouse in complex ways. Joint accounts remain fully responsible for both parties. Co-signed loans must continue to be paid. Some medical debts can be assigned to spouses depending on state necessaries rules, which classify healthcare expenses as essential household obligations. Imagine grieving the loss of your partner while simultaneously learning your household now owes tens of thousands of dollars in liabilities you didn't anticipate. Many widows and widowers experience sheer panic, not only emotionally but practically. How do they pay? What if their income is suddenly cut in half? What if their savings are inaccessible? What if the debt collectors become aggressive? Experts recommend several steps, ideally taken before tragedy occurs. Couples should discuss all their debts openly, even if the conversation is uncomfortable. A list of all accounts, including credit cards, loans, lines of credit, and recurring obligations, should be written down and kept updated. Additionally, spouses should understand the debt laws in their state so they know which obligations they might inherit. But after a spouse dies, the first step is always the same: notify creditors promptly. Many companies have policies for handling accounts after death, and several may cancel balances or freeze interest. Survivors should never rush to pay bills immediately. Instead, they should consult an estate attorney to understand which debts they are actually responsible for. Hidden debt is one of the toughest financial shocks a spouse can face, but it's only the beginning. The next challenge often appears even before the funeral: suddenly being unable to access your own money. One of the cruelest surprises grieving spouses face is discovering that money they rely on, everyday money, in what they thought was a shared household, pool becomes inaccessible overnight. Many people assume that being married means automatic access to your partner's accounts. But legally, banking does not work that way. If an account is held in only one spouse's name, even if both partners contributed funds, even if it paid the bills, even if the relationship was completely transparent, the account may be locked or frozen immediately after death. The surviving spouse cannot access it until probate is completed. Probate is a formal legal process that verifies the will, identifies assets, pays debts, and distributes property. It often takes months, and in some states, it can drag on for over a year. Imagine losing your partner and the next day being unable to pay your mortgage, buy groceries, or cover funeral expenses, not because you lack money, but because you cannot access it. Widows and widowers often describe this as one of the most shocking and humiliating experiences. They stand at a bank counter, death certificate and marriage certificate in hand, only to be told, "I'm sorry, you cannot access this account." The irony is painful. Even if the deceased spouse intended the surviving partner to have every penny, the law prevents immediate access unless the account had specific designations. Financial problems don't wait until you're ready. And for any financially successful couple, preparation is the greatest gift you can give your spouse. As you move into part 2, keep asking one question. If something happened tomorrow, would my partner know how to access our money, accounts, and plans? Join us in the next part as we uncover the remaining blind spots that every couple must address to truly protect their future.